So what can you do about it? This is mindset and communication tools. So calm versus emotionally charged. So we talked about that. Are you going in, you found something out you're not happy about, you're going in to talk to somebody about it, and you're still emotionally charged? That's not going to get you the result that you want. So thought carefully about your communication, and you've communicated it well and it hasn't gone well, you don't feel like it's gone well, don't think it's bad. What happens when we are not good at using our voice is we can end up being surrounded by the wrong people. And then when you start using your voice, you have to weed some of those people out. If we're not feeling heard, we can feel like not talking. And it's like, no, I still need to use my voice, even if I'm misunderstood. Because remember that lovely Alan Watts quote, where people can only understand you at the depths in which they've met themselves. So if they are not doing the work, then they might not be able to understand where you're coming from, and that's okay. Let them be. A lot of these things we've said, but I'll go through them very quickly. So what can you do about it? This is mindset and communication tools. So calm versus emotionally charged. So we talked about that. Are you going in, you found something out you're not happy about, you're going in to talk to somebody about it, and you're still emotionally charged? That's not going to get you the result that you want. So it's like when we were talking last week, it's about when we're frustrated with people, it's creating space, it's recognizing I am emotionally charged, whatever emotion that you could say triggered, that might not be in your vocabulary particularly. So name the emotion. I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, and then give yourself the space to change your state. So what we mean by changing your state is just getting grounded in yourself so that you are calm and able to deal with it in a better way. So you're responding, not reacting. I said this earlier, but to use I statements. So I feel like, instead of you never. Yeah. And actually using that extreme language, we have to be very careful about, because like we said last week, if it's like, you never do the hoovering, you never put the clothes away. Never. Is it really never?
Yeah.
Because they are going to hone in on the one time they did do it and go, never, that's unfair. So it's knowing that we do that, and it's human nature to do that, to exaggerate, and we're not doing it, I'm going to exaggerate this problem. That's what it feels like to us. It feels like they never do something or they always do something, but we have to be very careful about using that language. And actually it's much better to use I statements. So it might be, if somebody's not sorting the laundry out and that's their chore, it's better to say, I feel like that I need help with the laundry, and that we've made an agreement and you're not doing it. I feel. And then it leaves it open for them to say what they feel or what their position is. Whereas if we go in and go, you never do this, straight away their back is up, and then it's not going to be a fruitful conversation. It's just going to be excuses and blame. Oh, well, I had a busy day at school, or I didn't get home till late, or you said you do this and you don't do that, So to avoid the blame game, it's taking ownership of how you're feeling or what you've noticed, or you can say, I've noticed. That's another good one. I've noticed, or I feel, and communicate that way. We've said this before, choose your moment. So don't have big conversations with someone when they're dysregulated or you're dysregulated. And know your environment as well. So having conversations that might be emotionally charged, you don't want to be doing it in public places or in staff rooms, or where other people can be listening in. And like I say, particular, if it's family, particularly, well, anyone really, it's good to try and connect on some level. But particularly with family, children, partners, is to try and connect first before having that conversation. And it will be much easier to do that if you are in that calm state rather than charged. When we're charged, that's when we go charging in and say, you never do this. And that's not going to work. Not the way you want it to, anyway. Repeat. So, say it more than once. Sometimes people do need to say it more than once. I've heard that it takes 8 times for somebody to hear something for it to completely sink in, you know?
I don't care if you say it 80 times, Jesus.
Yeah.
So many times you repeat yourself when you actually realize, yeah, I'm not going to do that again. Yeah. But yeah, repeat. You do have to sometimes repeat something more than once for somebody to comprehend it. But if they're not ready to comprehend it after you're repeating it, then they're just not ready, and it's not your problem.
Yeah. And also, like, we shouldn't have to repeat ourselves with our inner circle. So, obviously with kids you'll have to repeat it, maybe with partners as well. But with our friends and the people that we choose as our inner circle, the people that should be supporting us and egging us on, the ones that we lean on when we're having difficult times, they shouldn't be the people that we have to repeat ourselves many times to. And if you are, maybe consider them not being in your inner circle. That doesn't mean not be friends with them, but little bit less time with them and a little bit more time with someone who is hearing you. Yeah. And reframing it. So you can repeat it, but repeat it in another way that might be better received. So framing things is a really great way of getting your point across. If you build things up so that they're going to be in that's a bit like connecting, really. But if you we can give the same message in different ways depending on what we've said beforehand. If we prepare people, even like prepare, it's like connecting with them and saying, look, before you go in and have that difficult conversation, let them know. You say, I've noticed some stuff, and this conversation might be a bit uncomfortable, so I'm just giving you a heads up. But I think it's really important, and I know that we can work through this together. So you've framed it. So they're not going to be shocked that you're going to have a go at them doing, well, not having a go, because that's not what we do, but that they already know that this conversation is a serious one, and that can help how it's received. So it's not a shock. Yeah. So repeating, reframing, or framing the conversation before, like if you frame the conversation as, I care deeply about you, or I really get along with you, and I've got some problems that I want to discuss with you, and I know together we can work it out. Already, when you tell them something difficult that they may not want to hear, they already know that you want to work it out, that you're already on their side. We're a team, and that will get a different response from them. Own your own power. So you're not actually responsible for how they react. You're not responsible for that.
The power actually lies in you speaking your truth. No matter what the reaction or response is, the power is in you voicing your needs and speaking your truth. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. But we are responsible for how we express it. That's the way to look at it. We're responsible for how we express it to people. All those things that we've talked about, we are responsible for that, but we're not responsible for how they react. If we say something and we don't express it well, we're still not really responsible for how they act, but we are responsible for not meeting that in the best way, that being part of the problem there. Yeah. So it's knowing to take responsibility where responsibility should be taken. And that's why it's good to prepare before going charging in. Like, am I in the right state? Am I going to catch them at the right time? Am I going to connect with them first? How am I going to connect with them? How am I going to frame it so they feel safe in this conversation? How will my demeanor be? You know, all those things are going to help you be heard better. And model what you want to see. So if you want somebody to actively listen to you, then you have to be actively listening to them when they're talking about the stuff that maybe you don't want to listen to, you know? If you're a co-worker comes to talk to you about, I don't know, their family or the grandchild, and you're like, oh yeah, you know, you may be busy, but you know, you're not really listening to them, not giving them all the right cues. Then when you want to have a little chat about what's going on in your life, you can't expect them to do what you're not doing for them. So it's all starting with yourself. If you want people to actively listen to you, are you actively listening to those people around you in your life? Yeah. Once again, starting with yourself. And never underestimate the power of your influence in a place. You know, if you just keep waving, and it doesn't happen instantly, but you just keep doing it. You're like, I know why I'm doing it. This is what I want to see. So I'm going to be the beacon of what I want to see. And the more you do it, the more people will follow suit. And that doesn't mean you'll get everybody on board with what you're doing, but honestly, do not underestimate the power of your influence, because you are powerful. Your demeanor, the way you show up, the way you listen to people, the way you communicate will rub off on others. Yeah, so don't be moaning in rooms. Don't want people moaning. Yeah. So this is another quote I've got. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. So that goes back to what we're saying about you're not responsible for how they react. You are responsible for the delivery. So let's say that you've tried to communicate and it hasn't gone very well. A good thing to do is to reframe, because when something hasn't gone wrong, particularly if you're trying to use it, you may have gone in there thinking, right, I'm gonna frame it well, I'm gonna connect first, I'm gonna think about my debate. You might have done all of these things, you might have really thought about it and gone in, and then it's gone terribly. Then our tendency is, when we're thinking this way, is to think, I did something wrong. You know, we can over own things, can't we? So it's reframing the situation, to that it's not a catastrophe, and remembering that maybe they just need some time. So it's like, oh, you know, knowing that you did the right thing, you know, I feel I communicated that well, and they need, I can see they need a little bit more time, or I need to frame this in a different way, or you know, or perhaps I need to follow a procedure, or perhaps I need to walk away from this person, whatever it is. But,
or all of the above. You do all of those steps, and then it still ends up that they don't fucking hear you.
Yeah, but if you have thought carefully about your communication, and you've communicated it well, and it hasn't gone well, you don't feel like it's gone well, don't think it's bad you know. What happens when we are not good at using our voice is we can end up being surrounded by the wrong people. And then when you start using your voice, you have to weed some of those people out, don't you? Yeah. Yeah. What else have I got here? Oh, this is a good one as well. What if their reaction isn't a rejection of you, but a reflection of their own state? So it's not because of what you're saying is unreasonable, but it's because maybe it's triggered something in them. You know, well, it will have triggered something in them if they're acting badly about it. Here's another one. Being ignored isn't always personal, but how you respond can be empowering. So it's remembering that, you know, you might communicate well, they might react badly to it. Is give yourself space, don't react, because then it becomes a battle, doesn't it? You know?
Exactly. And that can be very easy. Like, you know, you can frame it properly, get the completely wrong or completely, you know, the unwanted response.
Mm-hmm.
Then you reframe it again, and then you get an even worse response. And then you reframe it again, and then you realize, no, I'm not doing this again. I'm not reacting to this again. I've done it calmly already, but if I react to this another time, I'd be reacting from a negative or a volatile space. So you have to know when enough is enough, really.
Yeah.
And when you can't get through to that person, it's time to just walk away.
Yes,
you know, and that's empowering as well. You're empowering yourself by using your voice, but you have to empower yourself by knowing when to stop using your voice as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Sometimes less is more. You know, sometimes people need you to stop communicating with them for them to realize that they either meet you on the level that you require or not at all, you know.
Exactly. Silence can be very loud in those situations.
Yeah. And it's not silent treatment at that point.
It's not a form of punishment by any means. It's a form of trying to, you know, you've communicated the right ways. You've taken the right steps, and you're taking your power back. That's what the silence is. It's like, look, how am I supposed to, if I keep going like this, I'm going to end up being angry. Yeah. So I have to know when to keep quiet. It's not a punishment towards that person. It's an empowerment towards myself so that I don't lose myself again.
Yeah. So some affirmations if we're going through that, if we're going through communication issues, is we could say things like, I speak with clarity and confidence. Because sometimes we might be saying the right words, but if we're not saying it confidently, people might think you can be swayed, or they're not quite sure if you really mean it. So telling yourself that you speak with clarity and confidence, particularly if you're doing that in meditation, you don't have to, but in meditation, it's a really great way to get your subconscious on board. So it might feel false at first. In fact, it probably will feel false saying those things, but you soon start to feel it and believe it. And if you believe it, then you do it. You know, you are able. If you believe it, then you are able to do it. So saying things like, I speak with clarity and confidence. My words matter, even when they're not understood the right way, which I think is a really nice one, because if we're not feeling heard, we can feel like not talking. And it's like, no, I still need to use my voice, even if I'm misunderstood. Because remember that lovely Alan Watts quote, where people can only understand you at the depths in which they've met themselves. So if they are not doing the work, then they might not be able to understand where you're coming from, and that's okay. You know, let them be. I trust the right people will hear me at the right time, and that's important because it might be the right person, but it might not be the right time. Yeah. So just because someone's, just like we said, maybe somebody needs some time to process that. Yeah. So trust that if it's the right person, if you've said it in the right way, then they will hear you eventually.
You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. I keep trying to say that to myself over and over again. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
100%. Right, that's everything I've got, and we're nearly bang on an hour.
Nice, lovely.
Yeah. So to finish, join Teacher Mindset Matters. It's our free Facebook group for teachers and school support staff who want to get on a growth journey. So Angela and I are both in there. You can post questions anonymously and we will try and support you. And there's all kinds of coaches in there. I mean, we can help with most things, probably not nutrition and exercise, but we have got a nutritional coach in there as well. And if there's any aspect of self-development that you feel that we don't cover, or there isn't someone in there, then you can just ask, because we have lots of contact with lots of different types of coaches, so we'll be able to find you someone. Yeah. So it's just to have positive messages, encourage each other and cheer each other on, and support each other, because our mindset is our superpower if we can get reins on it. Yeah. So I'll see you next week.
Okay, have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Bye.